But in the meantime, let's move and look forward to our next match. So this is going to be Waffles versus the Ancients, sorry, and then we can throw up a graph of Waffles. Waffles, another team that historically in the Lions tournament not really been entirely successful. A string of 1 and 2s, so 1 win, 2 losses, and out. As you can see here, 4 matches won, 8 lost. So a bit of a one-sided thing there. But
A
the
lot,
last
lot of red in that circle.
a lot of red in that circle. Yeah, that is true.
And the teams that they beat too are also normally quite bad, and they're losing to mid-tier comps. I mean, Tuskers are good, obviously. So are the Ronin, but a lot of the other teams in there, they're
I mean,
not.
their last win was against Out of Sight, which Out of Sight is typically a decent team. So there's at least let's not completely trash on them.
Yeah, glimmer of hope and some of the best adverts in the
Yeah.
Alliance tournament.
That one ray of sunshine coming through the clouds.
Yeah. The Ancients, on the other hand, are a team with very little tournament history. Some of the pilots do have some history in sort of aggressively mid-tier teams, including my own team many years ago, the Bastards, with myself and Nash Cadaver. And we went 2-2, so officially, I guess that makes us better than Waffles. And some of the guys in the Ancients actually flew in that team as well. So they're not aggressive PvPers. They're not like super experienced, but I'm excited to see if they can take a W over Waffles here. Um, let's look at the bans. So bans from Waffles: Nighthawk, Loki, Barghest, Drake Navy issue, and the Ancients banning Barghest, Leshak, Vindicator, Vargar. Vargar ban, Titonia, by the Ancients. What do you make of that?
That's a pretty interesting ban. I think it's the first time I've seen a Varga banned.
Why would you ban a Vargar?
I'm not too sure. Like from their bans, it looks like they want to try and remove a lot of like armor battleship core. Like Varga is also just it's a good ship with a bunch of utility highs and like maybe a shield setup.
And Laz, Marauders in the Alliance tournament. I mean, they've got this Bastion module. Can they use that?
Oh, absolutely not. So Bastion, we would be sitting here waiting for the run of charges for their Bastion, and then finally letting it die. But no, the Marauders bring a lot. Like we see a lot of golems, because the golems have a huge TP bonus, which is like one of the best TP in the game, and it allows you to project. But the Vargar, we see a lot on TQ in what ESS is with the Bastion module, be able to tank the entire gang, killing them. But because of that, there's a random flagship Vargar, which I could see a flagship Vargar being actually pretty decent with the upgraded modules. But outside of that, I would like to see what their thought process was to think that Vargar, that's what we have to ban. Where did it come from?
So who are you going to go for in this one, Laz? Is it going to be Waffles or is it going to be the Ancients?
Honestly, it's a hard pick for me. I'm gonna go with Waffles, just because I don't know enough about the Ancients.
What about you, Titonia?
I think you have to go with the Ancients because it's a pancake meta, so pancakes are gonna beat waffles.
I think I'm also going to agree and go with the Ancients here as we go to the arena with Mizir and the Basilisk.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the arena. I'm still Miss and I'm still with Bass. So welcome. This is Waffles in red versus the Ancients in blue. Bass, can you tell me a little bit about these setups?
I certainly can. So this Waffles comp, I actually really like the look of it. They've got a Balgorn, they've got 2 Eoses and a Neros, 3 Confesses and 3 Vexels. And I think actually this is a comp that Fraternity flew in the feeder tournament to great effect. I really like the look of it. They've got very extensive low end with the new Vexels and the 3 Confessors. On the other side of plagiarism is the Ancients, who are flying this Typhoon Fleet issue comp, which looks a lot like a literally triggered comp with the Guardian and the Nurgle, and of course the Stabber Fleet issues, which were for a while undefeated but are now no longer invincible.
Yeah, we saw that the Waffles team warped in a staggered ranges while the Ancients were all at 50, and the Waffles are pulling back while the Ancients are like spreading out and going in. These Stabber Fleet issues, I think it's a bit of an interesting choice of ships, but they are fast cruisers. They can pack a nice punch and can fit a decent armor tank. We also see Kiaktra taking a bit of damage. He's the primary and he's probably also the one that's in front. He's slowly turning around and he's having this swarm of drones on him.
Yeah, so it's going to be really important for this Balgorn on the Waffle side to try and screen some of these things off. I think the Ancients are trying to rush in here, trying to apply these damage from these Stabber Fleet issues, which, as you said, they're pretty decent. They are, in fact, capable of fielding 4 medium rep bots, which is a pretty decent advantage in the tournament setting. And yeah, they're fast. They do a reasonable amount of damage. They're pretty cheap. Yeah, I quite like them. But yeah, this Oneros of Sarah Baines is taking chunks now. Clearly, the Stabber Fleet issues have managed to get through this defensive line, and they are on top of this Oneros. And he is dying.
I mean, it looks like the Oneros is free, but...
Oh no, he's got away. I was looking at the wrong cruiser. My bad. My apologies.
Yeah, but he's still taking damage.
And there's a swarm of BC drones on him as well, so that could cause difficulties for him. You know, if he's out the fight and he's alive, but he's not able to rep anything, that's, you know, you might as well be dead. So this could come down to how effective those EC drones are on him.
In the meantime, the Ancients might lose their first Stabber Fleet issue. Also have a Heretic taking damage, and another Stabber Fleet issue take damage. Looks like some of the drones on the Oneros are retreating. I think the Oneros might have recovered from this. But it's still looking a bit tight, as one of the Stabber Fleet issues is turning to cut him off. Like, he's having to turn because of the boundary.
Yeah, the two Typhoon Fleet issues seem to be chasing as well, although of course the Oneros is going to be pretty fast, but he's skirting right along the edge of the arena, as you say.
But the Waffles Balgon is on the Guardian. It's getting muted, it's getting webbed. This is the end for the Guardian. This is not what you want.
Yeah, the newt cycles of that Balgon are going to absolutely drain his cap. He's not going to be able to do anything. There's so many drones on him as well. And this is a really interesting take on the drone comp that we're seeing here from Waffles. Usually drone comps, you expect to see them kite around, try and stay away from damage, but these guys are not afraid to brawl. They've got these Vexels with newts. They've got Confessors to get on top of stuff. They've got Eoses and a Balgon, of course, all newts as well. So they've got a lot of control in this setup here.
Yeah, so the Ancients swapped to two of the Confessors on the Waffles team, and one of them just went down, and the second one might go down as well, unless he can catch reps. But at the time they're bleeding their own ship. One Heretic down, next Heretic in structure, and the Stabber Fleet issues are also going down. There's no one to repair them anymore, so at this point they can't really stay that long in the brawl.
Yeah, and the Oneros has managed to skirt around the edge of the arena and get back into the action here. He's actually managing to land some reps here, I think. Oh, no, not quite. I think he might be jammed by the EC drones, but he is still surviving as well. And this Stabber Fleet issue of Silas is just chasing him around, but he's not really getting much done, to be honest. The Oneros is just running away from him, not being caught. And the Typhoon Fleet issues tried to chase him as well, but they were also unable to catch him here. Meanwhile, in the backline, the Guardian's dying, and there's their backline's just getting obliterated here.
Yeah, both Nurgle and Stabber Fleet issues on the Oneros. I think at this point the Oneros will not survive, since this Nurgle can just spin up and kill him. So Oneros is going down, but I think the Oneros has served the purpose. Another Stabber Fleet issue down as well. At this point, the Waffles just on the lead. They still have the main core remaining.
Yeah, I think it's too little too late eventually. Getting that Nurgle on the Oneros, if they'd done that maybe a minute sooner, that Oneros would have been caught. He'd have been volleyed out of the field by the Typhoon Fleet issues, caught by the Stabber Fleet, and the Nurgle can move on again to something else. But I think it's just a little bit too late there on catching that. Oneros, as their Guardian, is already down. I mean, a couple of minutes prior to that, he died to the Balgon newts. So yeah, it's a little bit more decisiveness needed in getting control of that Oneros, because he was really running away with it.
So one big advantage of the Typhoon Fleet issues and the Stabber Fleet issues is that they don't need to use capacitor for their guns, and this does take a bit away of the Balgon's power. But the Balgon still offers strong, long-range weapon fires, and the neutralizers can still cap out that tank. And we've seen that Typhoon Fleet issue is trying to repair, but I think he's going down really soon. Maybe even before, probably not before the Vexor.
That Vexor does go down, but yeah, this Typhoon Fleet issue is really starting to struggle here. Obviously, no reps left on the field with the Guardian dying previously, so he's entering into a very, very low hull here. He is, in fact, going to explode. And yeah, it's looking pretty good for Waffles at this point. They're feeling pretty comfortable. I'm surprised at the split damage from both teams here. So many ships on the field here for this whole match had chunks of damage in armor. And there was no reps coming. The Guardian was neutered out. The Oneros was in no man's land. And neither team was focusing. Neither team was really choosing one target and sticking on it. They were both spreading damage all over the place. It's a little bit of a mess.
In situations like this, when things are getting screened off, sometimes you can't just only shoot the thing that is screening you. Like ships like the Stabber Fleet issues don't have long range, and the Vexors, if they had guns, they can also only shoot the thing screening them.
Yeah, that is true.
So that might be the case,
well.
yeah.
Confessors as well, assuming they're pulse confessors, everything's just sort of stuck in its own little pseudo 1v1 bubble.
Even if you don't shoot the primary, you're still shooting something, and you're forcing the enemy logistics to consider repping that target. Otherwise, it's going to die.
Yeah, so with that, this Nurgle now is chosen to be the primary. He is next up for the chopping block. Jackson Voa's in the Nurgle. He is not long for this world with the combined might of these two EOSs on top of him, and he goes down. So yeah, Waffles are just going to slowly wrap this up now. But it was a pretty good fight. It was pretty close for a significant portion of it. Both teams opting to bring that Tech 2 cruiser logi, and both logis suffering, although for entirely different reasons. One of them struggling with the newt pressure from the Balgorn, and the other being chased around by a Stabber Fleet issue. So it was a sort of a 9v9, I suppose, for much of this match. But then that Stabber Fleet issue was also effectively taking himself out of the battle as well.
This was really good piloting by the Balgon of Claire Baudelaire. Seeing this opportunity and getting on top of that logi, like, this is really strong points of the Balgon. I didn't see if any of the smaller ships had the initial tackle on the Onea's Guardian, but still having the long range Whipifiers does make it easier to catch something. Also, a shout out to Caesar 6, one of my long time friends in EVE. We used to be in the same corp back when CCP Rise was Kill 2. And yeah, a really good player, and lovely to see my old friend still kicking ass in this tournament. So shout out to Sis too.
Yeah, picking up the win as well. What's not to like? Yeah, this final Typhoon Fleet issue is slowly being whittled down now that all these drones are on top of him. And yeah, this is a great showing from Waffles. Or both teams put up a competent fight, but yeah, Waffles coming away with the win. But yeah, I mean, this comp, like I said, we saw it before, I think, in the feeders with Fraternity fielding it, and it looked exceptionally powerful. And then Fraternity losing earlier with their 3 Mala comp, I think it was. Perhaps they should have come back to this. I don't know if the bans would have allowed that. But
one quick question: do you prefer waffles or pancakes?
I prefer pancakes. When I was a child, my father kept buying these like waffles from Lidl, and I ate a bunch of them. And now the smell or sight of waffles simply makes me feel sick. I've had too many. I've been overexposed to waffles. And it's a pancake tournament, right? It's Bargas time, so
yeah. And the last Typhoon just went down, and this is the last match that I'm going to commentate today. And see you all tomorrow instead. Back to the studio.